Andy, it is a pleasure to meet you, and I'm super excited to be chatting with you today. I know personally I have a lot of questions about you and your business and your expertise here on Amazon, but I know there's a ton of people that we work with at StartPack and probably people out there who are looking to sell on Amazon who can learn a ton from you. So thank you so much for making the time today.
Hey man, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. So why don't we start with this? I've done a little bit of research on you. I've checked out your Twitter. You got some pretty cool content there, but why don't we start with in your own words? Tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you do. How would you describe what your business is?
That's a good question. I've been super interested in online business, entrepreneurship for a long time now. Pretty much, I mean, as a kid, I think everyone likes to say as a kid, you're into the whole selling snow cones. We would sell snow cones, do all that kind of stuff. But when it really started to become serious for me was when I was in college. Let's see, that was about 6 years ago now, 7 years ago, while I was in college. And I actually changed my major from engineering to business. And when I kind of made that whole mindset shift of, hey, I'm going to be an engineer when I grow up, because both my parents are engineers, and I flipped over to the business side of things, that's when the wheels really started turning for me of how can I build my own business? Like I don't want to work for someone else the rest of my life. I want to be my own business owner. And so since then, like I said, 6 or 7 years ago, since then, I've just always been super interested in online business, dabbling in all sorts of stuff. I mean, I like to tell people, if you can think of an online business model, I've probably done it. I've done blogging, drop shipping, podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. I've sold digital courses. I've sold physical products, coaching, consulting, like you name it. I've done it. I've tried it. I've, see what I like, what I don't like. So that's kind of how I operate. And the cool thing about all those different experiences over the past few years is being able to kind of dabble in all those different business models. I've kind of found, what I enjoy doing, what I'm good at doing, and where there's demand. So kind of taking the best of all those pieces, I've kind of found myself, it's almost like I've kind of funneled myself down from all those different business ideas and models down into what I do now, which is I run my own e-commerce brand, mainly through Amazon right now, but we're expanding to our own platform, expanding to retail. So it'll pretty much just become an all-encompassing product-based business. And then I do business coaching, consulting, teaching, I guess, as my personal brand. So I create content on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, podcast, teaching people about how to build their own brand, build their own online business, run their own business, that kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot you do now, but it sounds like there's also a lot you did before to help you figure out what you do now. You said name a business. I've probably done it. Let's do a little test here. Do you remember what the very first business you ever started was? And yeah, how did that happen? Let's say you had the idea. What was it, and how did you start, and why did you start too?
Yeah. So when you ask that question, immediately the first thing that comes to my mind is my blog called, and I don't think this is active anymore. I should probably just check. My blog called I want to make a song.com. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely not active anymore. So backstory to this, when I was in high school, so this is going before college. When I was in high school, I was super into music. I've always been into music my whole life. I grew up playing the piano, ukulele, violin, all sorts of random stuff. So in high school, I was super into music. And that's when I got into producing digital music using, I don't know, for anyone listening out there, if you've heard of like FL Studio and Ableton Live and, DJ software, stuff like that. That's when I got really into that. So I went out and actually bought DJ equipment. I started DJing weddings, dances, high school dances, and I self-taught, became a DJ. And I would make my own songs, make my own remixes and stuff. And so, moving from high school into college and getting into this whole online business thing, I decided to start a blog around how to make music and how to basically make money as a DJ and all that kind of stuff. So that was my first online business real adventure was I want to make a song. I had an Instagram account and a blog. I think I made it on Blogger, which was like Google's OG like free website platform. And then eventually I think I eventually moved it over to a WordPress website. And I quickly learned that I wasn't that good of a DJ. I mean, I was good enough to do some weddings and high school dances and do that, but I wasn't good enough to really, I don't know, at least I didn't think I was good enough to really get people to pay me to, I don't know, create a course or whatever around it. So I stuck with DJing. I actually, up until like a few months ago, I was still actively doing it. But I kind of shut down that whole trying to monetize that blog. But that was my first business adventure.
Okay, so Amazon Andy and DJ Andy, or it sounds like that's a hobby now, but it used to be the full-time gig. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so DJ, it started off with a DJ business, and that was, building out a blog. And now you mentioned actually, so you primarily have a business or a brand on Amazon, but you're actually looking to expand, and sounds like there's a whole suite of other product offerings, and you have a podcast, etc. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Amazon. What was your first exposure there? Maybe just a little bit about your story into selling on Amazon. And it looks like from what I've seen on Twitter, your Amazon business is doing pretty well these days. Would love to hear a little bit of the story there and maybe the progress up until now.
Yeah, my Amazon story's kind of interesting. This also goes back to when I was in college. I actually remember my very first exposure to the possibility of selling on Amazon. I remember this very vividly. I even remember the room I was sitting in when this happened. I was sitting in a classroom at school, actually in an entrepreneurship class. I was sitting in the back row, had my laptop open, and there was two kids sitting right next to me with their laptops open, and they were not paying attention to the lecture at all. They were like heads huddled, like looking at each other's laptops, like chatting the whole time. And at first I'm like kind of annoyed, like, dudes, like stop, like we're trying to listen. And so, I'm doing my whole brown nosing thing, and I'm like, peeking over, like what can be so interesting on their computer, right? So I peek over at their laptop. They're literally right next to me, and I see all sorts of weird data. I can see that they're on Amazon.com, but they have something pulled up, and they're looking at all sorts of numbers. I see like charts and numbers and stuff, and they're like whispering and pointing and talking, and I'm just like, what the heck are they doing? And so after class was over, I just asked them, I said, hey guys, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but notice you guys were, talking about something during the lecture. What is that software that you guys are looking at on your computer? And they were super cool. And they were like, oh man, yeah, no problem. This is called Jungle Scout. And I was like, okay, what is that? And they're like, it's this cool software that analyzes Amazon data, Amazon sales data, and it will show you how many sales products are getting on Amazon. So like you can type in a product and click this little Chrome extension, and it will show you, hey, these whatever random product you're searching is selling 25,000 per month. They sell 300 of these every single day. And I was like, whoa, that's like pretty cool. But like, what are you doing with this? And he's like, oh, we sell toothbrush heads on Amazon. And I was like, what do you mean toothbrush heads? I'm like, and they said, like Oral-B, like electric toothbrushes where you can like pop off and it's like, this is the vibrating ones. We sell yeah, I have one too. He's like, those? Well, instead of buying the Philips or Oral-B replacement heads, because you need those, they go out. We sell our own brand that we get from China, and we sell them for way cheaper than what Oral-B is selling them for, and they fit on the same toothbrush. And we sell $40,000 of those every month. And I'm like, wait,
wow,
what? And I was like mind blown that these dudes are sitting in the back of the class selling $40,000 a month in toothbrush replacements. And so I was fascinated, and I went home, and I was just recently married. Like, I think I'd only been married for like a couple months. I told my wife about this. I'm like, hey, this Jungle Scout thing, like it's crazy. Amazon, She knew I was entrepreneurial. Well, anyways, I bought Jungle Scout. At the time, this is what's kind of crazy and cool about Jungle Scout. I've been with them for gosh, 6 years now. That was back when they were first kind of getting going. I bought a lifetime membership for $50. That's what they were selling for. Now Jungle Scout is like $69 a month. So
Wow.
it's a lot more expensive software, but that's kind of my cool story is I was with them like pretty much from the beginning. But my first experience was I started doing my own Jungle Scout research on Amazon, and I was actually going to sell plastic sign holders, what I call them. Basically, if you were to go to a restaurant or dental office and you see like a brochure, a promo material in like one of those acrylic tabletop stands, I was going to sell those. The data was showing me these are like you don't need very many reviews. They're selling really well. You can go and get them made over China for $1, sell them on Amazon for 15. So I was going to do that. And I was broke as a joke. I was in school. My wife was in school. Neither of us had a job. We were like seriously so broke. And I tell this story on my podcast, but I ended up spending $200 on one sample of one of those acrylic sign holders from China. And my wife freaked out, like, because they ended up the supplier said, yeah, we'll send you a sample for free. Just give us your UPS shipping account number. And I'm like, well, I don't have one. I'll go set one up. So I go to UPS, get an account, get my little number and send it to them. I'm like, great, we'll just bill your account. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. The bill comes back at $200 for shipping. And I was like, oh, what have I done? Anyways, longer story short, the way that the numbers were all working out, profit margin, because I'm a big numbers guy, profit margin was a little too low for me based on the costs and quotes and shipping and everything I was getting, that I didn't feel super confident in, spending what very little money I had saved up on that business at that time. So I kind of put it on the shelf and said, you know what, like, to be responsible, with me and my wife and our finances, I'm going to put this on the shelf, focus on school, and then revisit this later. And then fast forward, until 2018. So a few years later, it's probably like two or three years later, in 2018, the opportunity presented itself again with our current brand that we're running right now to get back in it, with my wife and our good friends and business partners. And I said, yo, I have experience with this. I've already dabbled in all this. I know the whole process. I've worked with suppliers. And so we went about launching our brand, and this time we had money and everything. And yeah, it's been crazy. We went from our first month, we sold like 32 units, July of 2019, which is like $690 in revenue in our first month.
Yeah.
And then 18 months later, this past December, we did $120,000 in revenue.
Wow.
And this is just with one product with a few different variations. And so now we're doing around a consistent 80 to 90,000 in January and February, which are traditionally a lot slower months. So, I mean, we're doing great. We're growing. Like I said, now we're expanding. This was solely on Amazon. Zero money spent on Instagram, Facebook ads, nothing like that. Basically all Amazon, some pay-per-click. And now we're expanding into, we'll be selling on our own Shopify website, getting into some retail stores. So yeah, we're just kind of growing that now.
Wow. Oh, and in case I missed this, are you still selling the acrylic brochure holders, or this is a different product?
No, this is a completely different product. Yeah, we sell pet products now. We have a pet brand.
Wow. Okay. Hey, I have 2 dogs. Maybe I've bought something before from you without even realizing. Very cool. Okay. So let's, your first exposure, these, I guess, in a classroom. I love that. In a classroom, Jungle Scout acrylic brochure holder. Now you're moving, thinking bigger than just Amazon. And it sounds like you already have incredible traction without even these other acquisition channels, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You also run a coaching program on Amazon. I believe it's called Amazon with Andy. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just call it Amazon with Andy Isom.
Okay.
They're all kind of the same thing. Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom, kind of all the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that. At what stage do you work with clients? Are these folks who are, let's say, sitting in a class, they just heard about Amazon? Or are these folks who maybe have something on Amazon and they're coming to you for, hey, how do I help scale this? Tell me a little bit about that coaching business. And I guess, what do you find rewarding about the coaching specifically? Because I'm guessing you could spend all your time on your business alone.
Mhm.
Coaching, I know, takes time, and so does teaching. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I was actually one of those people too. You've probably heard people like this or seen people like this where they'll say stuff like, well, if your online business is so successful, like, why are you coaching? Why not just focus on your business and not sell a course or something like that? And I was kind of one of those people. And I was like, well, if these gurus, quote unquote, are so special, why are they trying to sell a course or coaching or program or something like that? And now that I'm in that situation, I kind of understand it. And that's not to say there's people out there who aren't doing it for the wrong reasons. But for me, I've always loved teaching and creating content. Before we launched our Amazon brand, so like we launched in our first sale was July of 2019. I've been doing YouTube since 2017. I did a podcast on business before we launched our current Amazon brand. So I've loved like creating content around online business, entrepreneurship, trying to build something special for yourself. And the satisfaction that you get from seeing someone kind of like follow in your same footsteps or find success is extremely rewarding. Like, obviously, it's smart to diversify your income. That's one aspect of it. Like, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't to diversify my income. Obviously, if I have my e-commerce brand doing well, but then I have a coaching program, I've got my social media content that can bring
Yep.
in revenue. I'm just diversifying my income, which is making my life better and protecting myself that much more. But when I get DMs from people saying, oh my goodness, I found your podcast. Thank you so much for giving all this out for free. Or, I just launched my brand, and they send me screenshots of their success. You like, I can equate it to like a proud parent moment in a way. Like, I have a 1-year-old son now, and it's kind of like, I think of all these people who consume my content, my coaching students, especially. I almost think of them as like my little business children. Like, I love nurturing them, watching them grow,
Yeah.
watching them be successful. And I get that same satisfaction that I have from my own business. Like, growing my own brand is really cool and fulfilling, but I get that same level of satisfaction watching them. So it's basically like, wow, I get 10 times, 100 times the satisfaction by being able to offer this coaching program and these resources to people. So that's kind of why I got into it. And then again, people just kept asking for it. So I've been creating content for a long time now. And, I started posting about Amazon and, kind of, hey, here's our Amazon business we're doing as well. This is how it's growing. And people are just like, we want more, we want more, we want more, we want help. I want to do that too. And so then it kind of just got to the point where it's like, I'm just trying to give the people what they want. Like, they want more Amazon content. So I'm going to give it to them.
I love that. It's almost as if it sounds like you're living vicariously, or their business success is your business success. And look, I appreciate your candor there. I think, yeah, on one hand, it's another potential revenue stream, or a way for you to maybe distribute your content and distribute your brand. You are your brand. But something I've always heard from great teachers and people who genuinely like teaching is it's incredibly rewarding. And if you don't find it rewarding, it's hard to do it and do a good job of it too. You won't have students, DMing in with screenshots or that true organic from that love. And another thing too, which you said, which kind of resonates, is it sounds like customers are, quote, pulling product out of you. We want more content on this. We want more content on this. So what you're doing must really resonate with them.
Yeah, I try to be really open and transparent. I kind of try to pride myself on being one of the most transparent Amazon sellers or coaches out there. Like, I have yet to find someone who talks as openly about their own business as I do. Um, a lot of that could just be, confidence in our own strategy and in our own brand. Um, but part of that is just me just trying to be transparent. That's why I put my name out there. I put my face out there, because I want people to know that, hey, this is me. Like, I really actually care about your success. I don't just care about your money. Like, for example, like if I'm coaching you or whatever, I treat it as if it's my own business. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you have a really good experience and give yourself the best chance of success.
I love that. Let's double click a little bit into Amazon specifically. It sounds like you work with folks who are essentially just getting started or trying to ramp up their businesses too. What would you say is and this might be tough because there's obviously, I'm sure, many different challenges customers face, but what would you say is the biggest challenge people face when trying to sell on Amazon?
The number one biggest challenge is a mental hurdle. It's not a hurdle with software or whatever. It's 100% mental, and it's the hurdle of I don't know what to sell. That's the biggest hurdle I see. And I mainly work with people from ground zero. So most of my students, clients, whatever you want to call, most of them are the type of person that says, I need to do something. I need to do a business. I need to do a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. I got to do something. I'm not happy, or I need another stream of income or something. And they are discovering this opportunity of Amazon. They're discovering the opportunity of selling their own product and creating a full-time income from it. There's tons of benefits from it. Like I said, I've tried all sorts of different business models, and this is one of the best, easiest, greatest opportunities I've ever seen. And all of those people have the same mental hurdle of, I just can't figure out what to sell. So for that reason, a lot of our focus is on helping you find what to sell, discover what your brand is going to be. And it's a big reason why my free guide through my website, I have just like it's a very simple 5-page or so PDF that lays out our 5-phase strategy. But it's very focused on finding what to sell. And then I have a little free 5-day email course that helps you through that whole process, because that's the number one hurdle. Once you get past that hurdle, I like to tell my students, if you have a great product, like you develop a great product, it doesn't need to like be the perfect secret product with the best, numbers, competition. No. That's not really that important, honestly. It's just developing a great high quality product. It's really hard to screw this up. The strategy that we teach as far as cost, pricing, launch, profit margin, numbers, everything. If you have a great product and you stick with what we teach, it's almost impossible not to make money with this. I've had people ask me, hey, what's like your student success rate? I've never had a student not make money. I've never had someone launch a product and flop. I've never had a message from someone, and I'm not trying to like be boastful. And obviously like I'm still relatively new to the whole coaching thing. It's been less than a year, but of the dozens of people that I've helped personally or have started because they listen to the podcast or whatever, I've only ever gotten messages of people saying, yo, check this out. Here's my screenshot of my sales. We did 15,000 in our second month, or this is nuts. We sold out in 3 weeks. And I'm just like mind blown, because I'm like, holy cow, these people are doing way better than we did. And knowing where I'm at in my business, 18 months later, and seeing where they are in their second, third, fourth months, I'm just like, holy cow, these people are going to blow me out of the water. Like their businesses are going to be even bigger than ours is. But it's so awesome to see people find success just by, doing. That's the big thing, is like, you just got to get over that mental hurdle of doubt and fear, and the rest can be learned. The rest is just the skills of how to take a good product photo or create a good listing. Like that's just a simple skill that we can teach you. You just have to get over those mental hurdles.
Wow. there are a lot of things in life which are a mental game, but this is super interesting. It sounds like to some extent there's a playbook for execution around best practices for selling. And you said you're a numbers guy, so I'm sure that involves, there's got to be a set margin, and you have to try this many distribution channels, etc. But for that mental game, and it sounds like, which is impressive, I was sort of thinking in my head, if someone has a business and they're trying to switch to Amazon, maybe Andy has his work cut out for him. But no, it sounds like you're working from ground zero, day zero. How do you, and maybe how did you personally overcome this fear or hurdle? And is there a specific way that you help entrepreneurs do that too? Because something we hear a lot too from even customers we work with is that there's that initial doubt that, oh, well, I can't do this, or, I've never sold anything before. I've never started a business. I didn't take this class. Are there things that you found to be effective to helping people sort of overcome that hurdle, or even things you've done to help coach people through that process?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Two things come to mind there. One would be our own personal experience, and then the next would be experience from my students that I've helped. So from our own personal experience, the way that we were able to get past those mental hurdles was with a mentor. And I talk about this all the time in my podcast. We have a mentor. It's a little bit different relationship than like my coaching program, simply from the fact that our mentor is actually my business partner's best friend. So It's a personal friend. They live here in our own hometown. But I remember like the way it kind of worked out for us was we knew the product that we wanted to sell. We knew it was cool. I did all the Jungle Scout research to validate that the numbers and the demand and everything was checking out. But still there's that doubt in our mind of, is this really going to work? Like, is this going to sell? Especially because we were selling our product significantly higher than any of the competition. So on Amazon. So all of our competition is selling for, $9, $10. We're selling for 25, the same thing. So for us, it was like, is this going to work? Like, are people going to actually go for this? But by simply meeting with our mentor a few times, and meeting with them meant like we go out to dinner with him and his wife, and we just have like an open conversation around a dinner table about, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're thinking. Just to give you a little backstory here, our mentor and good friend is 3 for 3 on Amazon brands and businesses, meaning he's started 3. Every single one has been a multi-million-dollar brand. I'm not gonna reveal his name or anything just because he likes to remain anonymous. But his first brand, he started and sold 2 years later for $5.6 million. His second, then he launched with that. He launched his second and third brands, both of them multi-million-dollar brands. So he's helped his parents launch a multi-million-dollar brand. So he like knows this process really well. And I already knew the process of like the business side of things. I studied business management. I got a degree in supply chain marketing. So I know how it runs. But just him like telling us, giving us confidence, saying, this is going to work, move forward. This is going to work, move forward. Like just that confidence is what really pushed us to actually do it and like take that next step. Because it costs money. Like this is a business where, yes, you are going to be required to fork over some cash. I tell my students, I'd recommend having at least $5,000 to $10,000 to start your business. And so for some people, $5,000 to $10,000 is nothing. And so they're like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, no problem. But for other people who are like, that's tight. Like that's our savings or whatever. They're scared. It's hard. It's scary to put that money into something that you don't really know. So I just try to really build confidence with my students the same way our mentor did with us, and just said, trust the process, trust the process. And, like I was saying, the second part of this is me thinking about my students who have had the same doubts and fears that we did. That's kind of why I really based my coaching program around feedback. I never wanted to make like a video course where it's like, hey, watch all these videos and like, good luck, have fun. I really try to provide feedback. So the way it's designed is around, we have like worksheets, we have weekly group Zoom calls, we have a private Facebook group. Everything is around me giving you feedback. So every step of the way, you can, ask me a question, submit a worksheet, and I can say, this looks great, move forward. It's going to work. Because people doubt themselves. They're like, I don't know. Like the numbers don't look perfect. I'm like, the numbers aren't going to be perfect. They weren't for us either. They weren't for my mentor. Like the numbers are never going to be perfect. You can crunch numbers on Jungle Scout all day. You're always going to find something that's going to say, oh, I shouldn't do this. It's too saturated. The competition's too high. I can't sell it for this price. Like there's always going to be those doubts. You just have to be able to push past those to, see the long-term vision that you can achieve.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of things. I think the thing I like about this is so much of what you're saying. Yeah, it sounds like it applies to selling on Amazon, but hey, look, I'm a founder too. A lot of this stuff applies to what we're doing too. You got to trust the process. You have self-doubt about things. You see alternatives out there. Numbers don't look great, and you can find all these reasons to give up. But at a certain point, having that person with support, or that encouraging message, or the hey, this is going to work out, that can be what it takes to, I think, get over the hurdle. And that human interactive touch versus that, here's a worksheet, you paid for my course, read this, and you're sort of on your own, or here's a video. Sounds like you're trying to flip that on its head and provide this just real interaction and real guidance and support throughout the entire process.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is selfish a little bit, but I want everyone who goes through my program to be successful. Otherwise that makes me look bad, right? Like, so if I create a course and I'm just like, hey, yo, good luck. And then it doesn't work out because whatever decisions they make along the way are poor decisions, then it's like, yo, Andy's course sucks, or it didn't work out. I tried it and failed, right? So by me being able to really give all my students the attention that they need, I can give them a much, 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 much higher chance of success, which obviously makes everyone happier. So that's kind of the model I went with. I try to provide opportunities for people at all the different levels based on their budget, for example. So people who maybe have a tighter budget but really want to give this a go, high ticket coaching is probably not for them. So for that reason, I have my podcast, my YouTube. I try to give out a ton of free information. Everything you really need to know, I try to give to you for free. But it's just more that factor of, okay, if you want everything condensed in like a Cliff Notes version that you can just flip through as a resource, I have my ebook and I sell it for a very affordable price. And if you want the next level of that, like, no, like I really want Andy's feedback, his personal involvement in this every step of the way, then I have my high ticket coaching program. But I obviously charge a much, much higher fee for that because, again, I want to work one-on-one, like specifically helping people that are very serious and invested in this to ensure they have the highest chance of success that they can.
It sounds that I wouldn't call that selfish. What that sounds like to me is just aligned incentives where you can, hey, if you could pocket some cash from someone paying you, but if they aren't successful, good luck trying to find future customers. If anything, it might be harder if those customers don't have success stories with you. And that's sort of actually our mantra too. We like to say we only succeed if our customers' businesses succeed. And by definition, if the business fails, then there is no business. There's nothing that we as a company can do to help them at Start Pack 2. So good things usually happen when incentives are aligned. And it sounds like you've realized that, and sounds like you have a lot of happy customers as well too.
Yeah, I mean, the feedback's been great so far. And like I said, I mean, so far we've only heard a lot of good success stories from people out there. So I'm hoping that's the case. One of these days, I'm sure I'm going to get a DM from someone saying, yo, I listened to your podcast. I did everything you said and my business completely failed. But hopefully I don't see too many of those, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this now. So it sounds like you have, a pretty good playbook, a comprehensive course for helping folks on Amazon. We were briefly discussing this earlier, but tell me a little bit about maybe the most challenging things you've heard from customers around setting up a business. Or let me ask you this, maybe even zooming back one step. Someone wants to sell on Amazon, or someone wants to start an online business. What is your guidance or thought process around, hey, here's what you need to do maybe on the mental side or on the planning side to validate or even think if this is something you can do before even having to worry about, hey, here's the business entity you have to set up, and here's the actual structure you need, et cetera. Here's your bank account, et cetera. How do you sort of balance and coach folks through call it the mental side and the business operational side with the back end and the back end, back office type work that needs to be done?
Yeah, that's a good question. The big thing that I try to focus on is commitment. Like for me, that's really the key to success in any online business you're trying to start. Doesn't matter if you want to be a professional YouTuber or sell digital courses, or I don't know, be an influencer or start your own brand on Amazon. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to commit. That's where I see most people fail. It's because they're not they're not committed. And when I say committed, that doesn't mean like go out and quit your job and like put your life savings into this. Like I'm not suggesting that at all. Like side hustle, for a lot of people, side hustle is the way to go, right? Like do it at night, do it on weekends, whatever. But the thing is, you have to commit to it. You can't say, I'm going to start this business. YouTube is my favorite example because I've been doing YouTube for a long time. When I started my YouTube channel, I committed. I told myself, like, I made the deepest commitment within my soul that I've ever made of I am doing this and I told myself, I said, I'm doing this for 3 to 5 years. I don't care if I don't make $1, because I started it as a business. Like I was like, hey, I'm going to make it YouTube as a business opportunity. I'm going to make money from it, but I'm going to do it for 3 to 5 years. I don't care if I have 1 subscriber and I don't make a single dollar. I will post a video for every day, every week or whatever for 3 years. After 3 years, if I'm not happy or I'm not satisfied, not making money, then I will give up. But until then, I will not stop. And 3 years later, you know, I'm at 50,000 subscribers. It brings in money every month. So I basically, I promised myself, and I told my wife this, I said, I promise you, I will make money from this. I'm going to commit to this. I promise you I'll make money. And here we are now 4 years later. And yeah, my YouTube channel makes me money. So that's the same type of thing I'd say is in your soul, you need to commit to it. Whatever it is you're going to do, whatever online business you want to start, tell yourself, I'm going to do this for X amount of time, regardless of what it costs, what it takes, however much money I'm making back, I'm going to do this. And that's kind of what I tell my coaching programs members too. It's like, look, we have a 6-month program. There's no refund. And there's a reason for that. Like, if you want to commit to this and do this thing with us for 6 months, then by all means, come and join us. If you're not fully committed, that's not the right time for you. Like, try it on your own or whatever. But yeah, that's the big thing. As far as like what you were saying about all the other back end stuff, setting up your business, that can all be learned. You can learn all that stuff. You can pay someone to teach you. You can learn it for free. But the commitment aspect and seeing it through is the hardest part, because a lot of these online businesses, you're not going to see money next week or next month. It takes a long time. We didn't pay ourselves for 1.5 years with our Amazon business. For the first 1.5 years, we just reinvested everything to grow the business. So I never saw $1 back to my personal bank account for the first 18 months. So yeah, commitment. I know I'm like up on my soapbox right now preaching that, but that is, in my opinion, that's the big key to success, and the big reason why most people fail is they're just not committed, or they give up too soon.
I think that's pretty powerful, but let me ask you this. There's not many people I know who take a long-term view like that right away from the get-go. I think when many people think commitment, it's, oh, I'll try this for a couple of weeks. Where did that come from? I mean, you said you made this commitment. I like this commitment, the deepest commitment in my soul. But where did that 3 to 5 years? Did you just wake up one day and say it's 3 to 5 years? But how does someone? I mean, look, it can be scary. Your $5,000 to $10,000 initial commitment. Maybe it's a side hustle. You've never sold online before. Where do you think that commitment came from? That I'm going to do this for 3 to 5 years, and I'm not going to every week. And well, where does that come from?
I will say this. I have to give a shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you've heard of him or know him.
Yes, I have.
I have to give Gary Vee a shout out. When I was commuting to work, when I first graduated from college and had my first full-time job, I'd listen to his podcast every morning as I drove to work. And that just totally shaped my mindset of like, first of all, it shaped my mindset of don't care what anyone else thinks. So like, yeah, family, friends, people are going to think you're crazy or you look dumb for starting a YouTube channel and putting yourself out there. So I got over that real quick because I was super introverted. Like I was a very shy person in high school. So I got over that just by developing that mindset. But second of all, kind of with Gary Vee, but also just from my own observations, I kind of told myself like, again, I'm still on the YouTube thing. If I'm going to make money from YouTube and potentially be like, YouTube is my career, I don't deserve to do it for 3 months and then it be my full-time job. Like I don't deserve to put in that little amount of work and be able to make videos for the rest of my life. Like be my own boss, do all that thing. And so that's kind of the mindset I developed is, first of all, I'd look at a lot of big YouTubers and I'd go back and see, when did they start? They started 8 years ago, 10 years ago. A lot of the biggest, PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, like think of any of those huge guys. They've been doing this for a long, long time. It's not like you set up a YouTube channel and 6 months later you quit your job and you're driving a Lambo. It's like, this takes a long time and I don't deserve this that quick. So like, I don't deserve to be a full-time YouTuber if I'm only posting videos for 6 months or even a year. Like if I'm willing to put in the work and grind for 3 years and I make it happen, yes, then I deserve it. Like at that point, like I have put in my dues. I have put in the work to get to that point. For me, for owning your own online business, being your own boss, controlling your own time, controlling your own income, to have that beautiful of a lifestyle, we don't deserve that if we're only willing to put in 3 to 6 months of work. We got to be willing to really put in a really consistent effort for a long period of time. I'm not saying 10 years, but like at least give yourself 2 years. That's my thing. Like at least 2 years. And then we'll see like, okay, maybe this isn't it or whatever. I need to do something else. But that's kind of the mindset that I developed.
Wow. I think what's very interesting there is I didn't hear you say, if I do this for 3 years, it's guaranteed to work. Because there's no playbook or guarantees where if I put this in, if it was that simple, then I think everyone would be either starting businesses or it'd be much easier to do things if there was a guaranteed result. But I didn't hear you once say, oh, if I do this for 3 years, I'm guaranteed. I think that what I liked is this framing you have of, look, and you also didn't say, if I only do this for 3 months, there's a chance, things could pick up faster. That's always in the cards as well. But I like this framing you had of, like if I'm really going to be real with myself and this is going to be my business and, I have the freedom to operate my business, I'm not working for anyone else, I'm working for myself. You sort of told yourself, I'll say you tell yourself this story, but you created this mindset that there's a certain investment that has to be made. And if I haven't even done that investment, let's not focus or worry about anything else. Let's just put that investment in and trust the process.
Yeah, you can only control what you can control. That was my big thing too. It's like, I can't control who watches my videos. I can't control if they subscribe or not. All I can control is how much content am I making? How often am I putting it out? And am I focusing on improving every day? Like, am I focusing on trying to improve the quality of my content? And everything else is just a byproduct of that. So, I mean, yeah, you look at the numbers and analytics to see, hey, are people liking what I'm doing? Is it going in the right direction? Do I need to make changes? But yeah, there's no guarantee. And for me, that was okay. Cause I was telling myself, you know what? I could do this for 3 years. And trust me, like during the first full year of YouTube, for example, I had it took me a whole year to get to a couple hundred subscribers. So I wasn't making any money yet or anything. And at that point, most people give up and they're like, this is dumb. This doesn't work. But for me, I just had the mindset. I just kept that mindset of, one, I committed, but two, it's like, if this doesn't work out, I'll move on to the next thing. I mean, cause what else am I doing with my time? It's either I'm trying to build my own business and I'm young, I'm in my 20s, right? I'm trying to create my own business and build a dream lifestyle that I want, or I'm playing Call of Duty for a couple hours every day. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. People were like, hey, what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? What if you never make money? Okay. I enjoy doing it. And it's either I do this and there's a huge potential down the road for it being life-changing, or I'm playing Call of Duty for 2 hours every day. For me, I'd rather be excited about something that has a future for my life than playing Xbox. So
I think what you described there is, asymmetric upside. The worst thing that happens is you did something which you found more fun than playing Xbox, or at least has a potential return, which is dream lifestyle, make an earning from this. And also I think there's another thing which maybe folks don't think about as much, as there's a downside to not trying, which is you never tried. You might live with that regret, or maybe it's, I don't know. What's interesting is there's this kind of, I'll call it an evil comfort behind, oh, I never tried, so I never failed. Like if I had tried, I could have done it. But then you tell yourself that just so you can, comfort yourself that you never did it. Is that something you've maybe thought yourself or thought about doing? And I was about to ask you, over those 3 years, on moments when you felt like giving up, why didn't you? And I think you just answered it right there. It's what's the alternative? Not trying or doing something which has no upside?
I'm just wired different. Like I was wired as an entrepreneur. Like I've wanted this my whole life. And during this whole phase, I have a job. So like I graduated from college, I have a full-time job, and I learned very quickly like this isn't for me. Like working for someone else the rest of my life isn't for me. Like as Gary would put it, like I can't breathe. Like literally, like I was just feeling so not myself that like I wanted this so bad that like I didn't care if it took 2 years or whatever. Like I was gonna keep pushing and trying and trying and trying and trying until I found something that worked for me. So for me, like doing the alternative and keep in mind, like it's not that I work like all the time, all day, every day. Like I have fun, obviously, but when it was an option between, hey, do I spend a couple hours trying to build my online business or spend a couple hours watching Netflix? I couldn't watch Netflix, even if I wanted to. Like I would sit, like if I tried to sit there and watch Netflix, I'd be like, I can't do this. Like I need to be trying to build my business. And so it was just wired within me to do that. And here's the thing. I don't think that everyone is meant for entrepreneurship. I really don't. Um, if you're the type of person that you're super happy and content with your job, getting up and going to work 5 days a week, and you're content, maybe you enjoy it a little bit, maybe you don't, but you're okay with it. And you love coming home and spending time with your family or playing Call of Duty or doing whatever, and that's happy and you're happy with that, 100%, I'm super happy for you. Great. Like that's awesome. That's what the whole goal is just to be happy. Some people are like that. Great. Some people who are like, I just can't do this whole job thing. Like, I just don't feel like I'm fulfilling my true potential, what I was meant to do. Then yeah, put in the work and make something happen. But it could take a couple of years. You just have to be committed to it.
You said earlier that you pride yourself on being one of the more candid or open coaches out there. And I appreciate what you just said there, because I think I've noticed this online. There's maybe these, call it echo chambers or bubbles, where if you're doing a job, you're shackled in. You're not truly free. You don't have true liberation. But the truth is that there's no single set path for anyone. I think there are different things and different affinities people have for different types of jobs or even hobbies, etc. But I think part of the journey is figuring out what it is that you like. And the only way to find that out is to try. But I think I do appreciate the candor there around that, where there's nothing wrong with doing either entrepreneurship or not doing entrepreneurship. But I think what is wrong, and I think this is a very cool, powerful lesson from you, is not trying and not committing to it. Commit to either one of them. But that's the only way where you can truly go wrong. And it sounds like fail and have that regret where, I didn't really try what I thought I could do.
Yeah, like my thing is just like follow your heart. If your heart's telling you, like if you just keep getting that itch of like, I really want to try this. Like I think so many people are so scared of what judgment or fear of failure, whatever it is. So many people are so scared of, man, like I love cooking. I'd really love to do this Instagram account around my cooking, but like I'm so scared. If your heart is telling you over and over and over, like, do it, you should do it, you should do it, then just do it. Like I don't know, like you're going to have to overcome your fears or doubts or whatever other people are telling you, but you're going to be so much happier if you just try it than you will be if you listen to those doubters or haters or whatever and never give it a chance. So yeah, if your heart's telling you to try something, go for it. The worst thing that could happen, it fails. I've had tons of things fail, right? Like you fail and you move to the next thing. Like it's not the end of the world.
And I like what you said before, where I think it's very easy to think, oh, I'm going to try this, and it means I have to quit my job and invest my life savings. No, you can start small with a side hustle, and you could start with watching an online course or a podcast. You don't have to commit to a full 5-year course or something along those lines. Hey, I know we're almost up here. I know you probably have a customer, and customers come first, etc. But let me finish with this. There was a ton of fantastic advice you had in here, but let's pretend that you could get a billboard on, let's call it Southern Pacific Highway on the West Coast. And everyone's going to drive through there. Everyone's in California. And it's a billboard, so you can't write in, Declaration of Size Independence font. So it's got to be, a message people can read. But what would you write on that billboard? A message for anyone to see out there. And we can focus it on entrepreneurs. It could be focused on folks trying to sell online.
Oh man, that is such a good question. There's like so many little things and things that kind of we've talked about too that I would want to put on there. Honestly, if I had to really, really choose one, it would probably say something around the lines of like, follow your inspiration. Like I'm such a huge believer in that. And whether you're religious or non-religious, it doesn't matter. Inspiration that you're getting. I actually just saw like one of those cool motivational videos of like hype videos on Instagram, and it was Steve Harvey, I think it was, talking, or man, I can't remember who it was. But anyways, it was something along the lines of like, inspiration is God telling you how to achieve your dreams. And again, if you don't believe in God or whatever, that's fine too. Like, it's the universe, it's whatever, telling you how to achieve your dreams. So follow your inspiration. If you're getting thoughts, ideas in your head to try things, kind of like what we were just saying, like, I love cooking, I want to start an Instagram account, that'd be cool. Or I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to start my own side business. If you're getting those ideas in your head, the universe is telling you that's what you need to do. Like, that's what you need to do with your life. So follow those inspirations. I've gotten so many of those over the years, and they don't always end up leading to your way out. Like, I want to make a song blog wasn't my way out. Neither was drop shipping. Neither was this other account. Neither was this other thing. Neither was this other course. But as you follow all those inspirations, they'll lead to the next thing, which will lead to the next thing. And if I wouldn't have followed that very first one, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. So follow your inspiration, believe in those inspirations that you're getting, and act on them. And you'll be really, really shocked how far you're going to come in, a relatively short amount of time.
I love that. I can't think of a better way to wrap things up there. Follow your inspiration.
Thanks,
awesome.
Man.
Hey, Andy, this was a ton of fun. Not going to lie, I've never signed up for Jungle Scout, but I really want to right now. I don't know if I can get the lifetime membership, but I might have just gotten the itch myself here, and who knows? Maybe you might have another coaching client in the near future. We'll see. But Andy, this was awesome. I can't wait to share this out with folks.
Yeah, man. No, that would be awesome. But no, I really appreciate the time. I had a lot of fun. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I guess just to wrap things up, is there a best place folks can find you online? Any links you want to share? Where can people find you?
Thank you. I appreciate you giving that opportunity. The only thing I would say is just go to andyisom.com. Just my name, andyisom.com. I've got links pretty much to everything there. So all my social media or free resources, podcasts, stuff like that. So yeah, that's where you can find pretty much everything about me. Okay, sounds great. And we will see if you have pets out there, chances are you might be buying from Andy in the future without realizing it. So I'm sure your store is going to be growing too. For sure. Thanks, man. All right. Awesome, Andy.